Welcome to the Education Innovators Podcast. I'm Eric Byron. This is a quick, short video to share some thoughts I've been having. We've been talking a lot about disruption, not incremental improvement in education, but radical, revolutionary change. Of course, this is exactly what Nolan Bushnell and Leah Haynes are hoping for with ExoDexa. And as I interact with educators, we've heard over and over again that education systems are complex and change is extremely hard and painfully slow. So I've been doing a lot of thinking about Montessori and ExoDexa and wondering how such dramatic changes could be done on a large scale. And it occurs to me that you can't just disrupt things. You can't abruptly try to introduce major changes like, no exams, or as Nolan describes it, no grades. This would be traumatic, for students and teachers. They're just not ready for such radical change to be implemented into existing systems. And by the way, if you're not sure what I'm talking about here, please listen to my episode with Barbara Choi and my episode with Nolan and Leah. So my thought is that how could we do this more structured, progressively, introduce the change slowly, bit by bit. And my thought is that if we start with 3 to 6 year olds, so they're just coming into education, they don't have baggage and stuff to fix, they're easier to deal with. So you implement these changes there, everybody gets used to it. And then as they're ready to level up, you have a 7 to 10 year old grouping. And then, again, they level up again to 11 to 14 year olds. And then finally a 15 to 18 year old group. So I drew out a timeline to kind of show how this might work if you consider that the very first kids, as they get older, they progress into these groups as they're introduced on a larger scale. So here's my graphic. So you can see here that you would need to launch the 7 to 10 year old program in year 2 for any of those kids who are ready to level up, enter the program at 6 and now they're advanced. You would need to probably be ready to launch the 11 to 14 year old program in year 6, and then the final level of the 15 to 18 year olds in about year 10. And you'd have your first graduates around year 13. Now, of course, because as we know, kids learn at their own pace, you might, or maybe likely, would have to launch the 3rd and 4th groups earlier, as some kids are, on the fast track. The other advantage to this type of approach, I think, is that it gives time for refining, adjusting, and training teachers. An approach like ExoDexa or even Montessori would be a huge change for teachers. It also gives time to build the support networks, the vendors, tutors, and developing games and curriculum for the older students, because it would all look different in a revolutionary kind of system like ExoDexa, These are just some of my thoughts. And I look forward to your feedback and open, respectful discussion on these and more topics to come. I'm Eric Byron. Thanks for listening to the Education Innovators Podcast. For all those innovators in education out there, thanks for what you're doing. You are making a difference.